Okay, hello everyone. Wait, I'm gonna read this. Hello everyone. So today I will do getting Odin Language Server to work with Sublime Text. So it's quite funny, you know. Odin Language Server is this thing that you put that sort of gives you suggestions for code and stuff, and gives you sort of, you know, similar to IntelliSense in Visual Studio, whatever you want to call it. And you can get that working in Sublime. And I've actually developed my whole game, the Cat and Onion game, without that. Without the Odin Language Server. So I just did all that. But I'm kind of starting up some new stuff, and I want to get that working. And I've just had different problem with it each time, and I've always given up. But it's a pretty nice thing to have. And I've realized something about workflows here, that where the Odin Language Server is good, I think. Because what tends to happen for me is that when you are programming in your file here, if you want, like, without Odin Language Server, you can still get some completion for all the symbols in the same file and some symbols in some other open files, but it's not like 100%. And one thing I did in my previous project was that I split things. I didn't split things up into many files. So I have like one game.odin that's like 12,000 lines. And yeah, I think part of it is just that I didn't have a good way to get code completion really between files. I mean, also the other part is that it wasn't really necessary, but I would like to be slightly more structured with my physical, like, file splitting stuff. And I've already started splitting stuff up into more files in my new silly project I'm doing here with where I can place train tracks. You know, I have all this going like this. Yeah. Wait, how do I play? Yeah, there you see. Anyways. So that starting up some new project there. But yeah, so I want to get Odin Language Server to work. So let's look into that a bit. And first I'm gonna enable Nightlight on my screen. Oh, it is on. Ah, okay, it was bugged. Odin Language Server consists of several things. One is the LSP, which is stand for something with language something P. I don't know what it stands for. That's the plugin in Sublime. And then you need another thing, which is the Odin Language Server, which is one of the LSP plugins or something. Okay, let's look at what is LSP first. Sublime LSP. LSP is an abbreviation with no explanation. I don't remember what it stands for. And everyone is just Language Server Protocol. There we go. Yeah, and then you get the language server, in this case Odin Language Server, OLS. So we can Google Odin Language Server. It's by this guy, Daniel Gavin. Yeah, and this one comes with some instructions, but it's always like you have to download this thing, and then you have to have some setup files in Sublime, and I always messed something up somewhere, and it always just ended up like kind of working or maybe not. So let's just try to get it working properly here. And maybe someone in chat can help me that has this working when I mess up. Who knows? Let's see here. So this is the language server for Odin, and what you do is you download the source code and then you build it, and then you need to configure it. So let's start with downloading it and doing this part, and then we can read on this part and see how we're doing. So I'm just gonna take all this code. I think on this machine I use HTTPS, I'm not sure. Git clone that one. Yeah. And I go into there and then I go check out my build instructions and I run build.bat. Let's see. Building for a while. Huh? Oh. It built. Okay. So we got all that done. And now, so we have the Odin Language Server, and now we need to configure it. So it says that in order for the language server to index your files, which is kind of what it does, it's sort of in the background. Justin says, I think OLS is worth it just for go to definition. Yeah, I already have go to definition working mostly. I mean, I can go to Draw Texture Pro and press F12 and it jumps there. I don't have OLS installed. I just have Raylib. I just have here's my project, and here is the Odin stuff, and I also have the Raylib here. And if you have all this in the same workspace in Sublime, then you can press F12 and it will just jump to the procedure. But I know that so that part I actually don't need it for. What I want it for is, for example, maybe have like it's a bit random to me. Like sometimes Sublime will give you like rect middle, and now it's not giving me this one. But if it's used in some other place in here, then it will give me this suggestion. But sometimes also Sublime automatically, just by having it in the same project, sometimes it will give me this suggestion without it ever being mentioned before in this file. But how Sublime works by default is that it's very easy to get some kind of code completion for things in the same file as you are currently. But getting completion for things in a separate file is a bit it's a bit doesn't work so well. But this kind of led me to the problem where in my previous project I think due to me wanting nice completion, I think I put things in one file slightly more than maybe I should have. So I want it mostly for the completion of symbols while I write code. That like I mostly just want proc names from any file that is related to my code. So let's see here. The configuration says in order for the language server to index your files, it must know about your collections. To do that, you can either configure OLS via OLS.json file. It should be located at the root of your workspace. I guess workspace is. Yeah, here's immediately like, what's a workspace? I don't have a workspace. Well, I mean, I have trains. This is my game, but there's 5 separate folders here. There's no like boss folder, like this is the main workspace folder. And I guess in Sublime there is some kind of new workspace. What? No, okay, that just. What is a workspace? I mean, is workspace these things? Because I don't understand what root of your workspace means when there's 5 different things in my workspace. None of these are the root, right? And I saw someone complain about exactly this thing, like how hard it is to set up because it's just all these words. Yeah, but if it's the top folder of the current working file, Like, so you mean if I'm in a subfolder inside the trains here, like I have code in some subfolder, then it will go upwards and look. Okay, yeah, maybe. So maybe then it as long as I'm in a file that's... and I don't really need the code. It would be... Yeah, I don't really need it outside of this one. So maybe that's fine. But let's try that. Let's make an... let's go back to here. I would prefer if it was like, since I have a project, I would prefer if this was defined in the project. Like I have a project file. I have this file here. Why can it go in here? And why do I have mismatching tabs and spaces? Like, because this is the project I have open. So this is where it should go, I think. But that doesn't seem to be a thing. So yeah, okay. You can example of ols.json. This thing, this is just my build script. This Odin run dot, someone asked what the dot is for. This is just for, it runs the stuff it looks in the working directory, which is this one. This one is a bit bugged because I haven't specified the working directory. You can explicitly specify that, but then it will compile everything inside this folder here as a one package and then run that with entering through the main proc. No, but yeah, that's not. That's look. I can show you. You're asking what the PVD is for that one, but I just haven't set it up properly. It should have a absolute path there. It should be this. I think it should be like this, working there, and then it shouldn't say cat game here, it should say trains. But this is irrelevant what we're doing right now. This is just for my build system. But I would wish the OLS stuff I wish the OLS stuff could just go in here, because then it would be unambiguous like which folder it should go into. So Zach, you're saying OLS should be optional for what? Yeah, some abbreviation. I don't use it in majority of my project, but does that mean it's not optional, but it can be empty, or? Like, but anyways, while we talk about that, I'm gonna start trying to put this in here. Where is this? The cat? Oh wait, am I in the cat game? Yes. Wrong project. I had two projects open. Here we go. ols.json. Okay, and now we edit this stuff here. Schema is all this stuff. That's fine. Collections. I don't have any custom collections, so I guess I can yeet this. Enable semantic tokens. What does that do? Turns on syntax highlighting. Sure. Enable document symbol. Okay, this is false. Again, but I have syntax highlighting from my syntax highlighting thingy. Enable document symbols. That sounds good. Turns on outline for all your global decorations in your document. Enable hover. Okay, that's probably fine. But so I don't need this file. Is that what you're trying to say? Because I'm not gonna do any of these profiles either. Actually, I don't even know what this means. Checker path, like I have all my code just here in the root. Okay, so then I delete that. I'm gonna skip having a repos, trains. Yeah, we delete that. Okay. There's an Odin format is also part of this, but we can ignore that for now, I guess. And then we have all the client stuff. And now we need, here's Sublime. So then I need to install the package LSP. And I can do that this way. Install package. Wait for a bit for Sublime. And then I install LSP. Client implementation of the language server protocol for Sublime Text. Go! Yeah, so install that. And then there's some text here. This is a client implementation of the language server protocol. This is a protocol that defines how blah 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 should talk to each other. It enables okay. Okay. So I think already I'm doing something different from what I've done before. I've always put in the Odin, the OLS file. I think this is a bit confusing here because it says it needs to know about your collections, but I don't have any custom collections. I have my stuff, and then I have the built-in collections of Odin core, and well, maybe will it find the vendor collections somehow? Like I use Raylib, will that be found? Okay, here is configuration of the LSP. Where did I put this? Maybe I think there's some kind of, if I'm not, yeah, I remember there's being some kind of thing here. Oh yeah, so here is, I've been here before, you see. I have this stuff here. This is because I tried to get it to work before. But so I had a configuration file left over, and then uninstalled everything because I grew tired of it. But configuration, okay, I get it. So if we go back to that file, where did it go? Here. Okay, so this stuff here is from last time when I tried to do this. I copied all this into the LSP. So Dennis is saying it would be nice to have, if you have a lot of subfolders and work like random file, if you like open random file in Sublime inside it to LSP, you mean the collection stuff? I mean, I have this folder here. I mean, so the main thing I want from OLS is that I will want to sit in main.odin, and it will find symbols in any of the files that I have here. These files here that are sitting next to main.odin. It will just magically work. That's the main thing. Can I do that without having an ols.json file? Okay, it's also access that OLS will respect the Odin root environment variable that points to where the compiler core vendor etc. is. Okay, I don't have that environment variable. I think it said something about it up here, but I thought it was an optional. Okay, so that stuff we need then. Okay, let's add that. Let me show you my Pokemons here. Okay, no, that's not how you do it. You go here, Odin root, and then I go like that. But I was wondering something here then. So how does OLS, I don't know how OLS works. Does it actually run an Odin compiler in the background, or does it just have an intelligent idea of what the language is and sort of gives you suggestions based on that? Because I guess if it needs the Odin root, then I guess it doesn't actually know, it doesn't need to know where my compiler actually is to work. It's just to get the vendor stuff and stuff. Okay, but anyways, so I put the Odin root in now into my as an environment variable, and I put in my path to my Odin stuff. So it's funny how that you can define collections again in the LSP settings, but also in the OLS. Interesting. Anyways, let's look at this. Let me just, if anyone is watching this and wants to, when I watch a replay of this and wants to follow along, then let's just, I copy this stuff in here. This is my LSP settings that I found under preferences, package setting, LSP settings. So then, but if it runs Odin check, then I do not, in that case, why do I need the Odin root? Doesn't it know where the Odin compiler is? If it, because Zach says it runs Odin check and parses the output to lint your code as well as its own analysis, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm a bit confused, like why you would need to specify this stuff, since it obviously knows where the Odin compiler is. I mean, I have it in the path, so that's... Anyways, let's configure the OLS settings here. C:/ is it / or backslash? I do a double backslash, Windows, ols.exe. So it's not enabled by default. This seems to be, if you set this to true, it's be globally enabled, but I can enable it per project instead. Collections, I don't have any custom collections. Remove that. Enable some, and this is the same stuff. Oh, okay, now I see. Yes, now I see. So this is the repetition of the stuff that was in the OLS, but these are the global settings. So the OLS.json is only for overrides of this stuff. All right. Let's go back to the wiki, whatever you call it here. Yeah, I think part of the problem of this setup process is that the first page I'm going to look at is the OLS page. And then I'm going to look for like, okay, but now I do this. I have never used this package before, so I don't know how to enable the LSP in my project, you know, and stuff. So it's... so now it's like when you come to this point, now you're sort of on your own, because this one doesn't say anything more. Maybe I need to go here now instead to the LSP stuff and go into documentation. Maybe I should write if I get all this figured out, maybe I should write a blog post on it, how to all the different steps. Like, how do I now enable my... Yeah, this is stuff. So you can do LSP, enable disable language server in project. So I press Ctrl-Shift-P and I say this, and then my Odin thingy pops up here because it's defined here. Oh, this is I'm in the settings. OLS no, LSP enable in project Odin. And now it did something. We go to main and we write rect mid. Ooh! Look at that. I pressed Control Space there to get the completion. Yeah, I didn't even restart Sublime. I just enabled it in the project. And now it gives me lots of color train. Yeah, Zach says he's not sure if Odin root is required. Yeah, well, we'll see now. Let's write rl dot set window. No, I don't think it's required because I didn't even. Well, maybe it used it now because I mean I didn't even restart Sublime and it still somehow found the Raylib stuff. But there you go, it works. Thanks for the help. I mean, I'm the only thing I really wanted was this, to have the, like, I have in rect.odin I have rect middle, and before this it didn't always find it, but now it finds it. And it obviously gives me this handy little thing here. But there was, I don't know, I think the problem I did the last time was that the last time I tried, maybe I used the ols.json file or something, because it sort of worked half. It sort of half worked. It just gives me some garbage output here and stuff. Yeah. Let me just restart this and double check. Well, now I'm scared. What do I have behind this? Let's maximize this. And then we go open Sublime again. Now it's in the cat and onion project. So let's switch it up to this one. Recommend. Yeah, it still works. Okay, that's all good. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis says congrats. Xdal says, I never understood why people use language servers. I get the use, it just seems odd. Well, I had an example here just now that when I split things up into several files, like when I work in one file in Sublime, it will give me code completion that maybe there's a variable called grid, and I can type grid, or there's a proc called draw track piece. That will work without OLS, but if I put procs in another file, like my rec.odin here, I had this one, then even if they're in the same workspace, Sublime won't always show this one. And I mean, to be honest, like having rl.draw texture like this, and it says like it says which parameters it wants here. Here the list, instead of having to go into the file, it saves a bit of time. You know, it's not too bad. Like this. Now if I type it also, it just shows it inline here. That's, I mean, there's no downside. There's no downside to that feature, I think. Yeah, I think Zach, you said it helps. OLS helps a lot with avoiding context switching. Yeah, I do this a lot. Raylib.odin, and then I'm like symbol searching in here, draw texture, blah blah blah, and then I look at it. Sometimes I even take this and I copy paste it, and I go here. I do something like this. You know, it's not the best. But anyways, that worked out. The end. So that's all good. And if you have custom collections, then you can put those into the ols.json. If you have, like, yeah, for some reason custom collections you need. but it seems to work fine like it is. Let's for funsies try removing this environment variable and restart Sublime. Yeah, restart all of it, and then it always opens. Almost sneezed. Rect middle, that one works. Okay, rl dot begin, rl dot draw texture pro. Yeah, that works. The only thing I'm not too, this list here, I would like it, you know, when I wrote this, I got this pop up here. When I get this pop up, yeah, Zach says, I agree that the README could be a bit more streamlined if you're just getting started with LSPs. Make it more clear that OLS.json, etc. is optional. Yeah, and like sort of the stuff, like I saw someone that was like, oh, but what's a workspace? You know, I've used Sublime for many years, and I have absolutely no idea what a workspace is, because I have files in this folder thing here, and then there's a project. I have absolutely no idea what a workspace is. I still don't really understand it, even though we talked about it. But yeah, I did sound a bit grumpy when I went through this now, but that's just because I've been trying to do it several times, and it's just yeah, maybe I'll write a blog post or something about this, because someone told me, like, it was I made a video, you know, I made my video about setting Odin up and stuff. I've done videos on that, and then people wrote like, oh look, someone watched my Sublime setup video I made, and someone was like, oh, the only thing I wanted from this wasn't here, it was the OLS setup. And they were like, yeah, I don't understand all these things. It's like there's no single guide to setting it up in Sublime with like the everything collected. So maybe I'll do that someday. I mean, it's not really a big blog post. You can really be like, do this, put this here, blah blah blah. So, but anyways, what I wanted to say here was that I like this thing here that comes up that shows the parameters, and I wish that always came up. Like if I write draw texture pro like this, I would like to get from this to the other one, but if I press enter now, then this thing comes up, and this stuff I'm not very interested in, because I want only this thing. Maybe if I... Nope. I did another parenthesis and then it disappeared. And then there was a mistake. Yeah, maybe maybe I can configure that in the LSP settings. Wrong place. Package settings, LSP settings. Yeah, let's look in the here. Inlay hints, fake methods. Enable document symbols, semantic tokens. Turn on built-in snippets. Yeah, I would like to make it so that that's thing. Or draw texture pro. Like I want to get from this, skip this thing and go directly to this, which appears if I write draw texture pro parenthesis, then it appears. But if I write draw texture pro and then press Control space, then this thing appears. Maybe if I okay. So if I write draw texture pro, Control space, get this, and if I instead of enter here press the left parenthesis, then this appears. But I will probably by reflex end up pressing enter because it's a menu. Yeah, I wish this could be disabled somehow. Yeah, maybe it's a, like you say, it's an LSP setting. Maybe la 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 la. But this is great. This is gonna make me split things up into files a lot more, because it really, yeah, maybe it's something in here. And I mean, I should also look into doing the Odin format stuff, maybe, so I can get there was someone once who said that the only way to enforce a coding standard is to have an automatic formatting program do it for you. But if you're programming alone, the coding standard matters less, I would argue also. But if you're working in a team, you should have something like Odin format, I think, because that's the only way you can enforce it. Like we had at the previous workplace, we had a commit hook. So in Git, whenever you commit, it will run. That was in C, so then it ran Clang format on your code, and if it did, and then it would tell you if it changed anything, and then you had to re-add that in the Git, and it was great. It was always fixing things, making sure stuff was correct. Okay, let's try to find that funny big window thing in here. Pop-up. I don't like this pop. Show code actions in hover. No. Sure. Inhibit word completions. Oi. Show inlay hints. Show multi-line document highlights. Oi. Semantic highlighting. Where is my setting? Remove the big window when I press enter in a thingy. What's this? No. Show code actions in hover pop-up. Show symbol action links in. Show none of this makes any sense to me. Show diagnostics in LSP format on save. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't. Can we Google it maybe? Sublime LSP disable. What's it called? Function parameter pop-up. Oh, so bright. No, this is not what I wanted. I don't know. It's just annoying when you do like this, because suddenly the important thing for me is to see this stuff, and then suddenly I can't see it because it's became a little scrollable thing with this next to it. I mean, also I don't usually program at this high scale, so maybe that's the. Oh, now it moved here. It's over here instead. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll ask about this in the OLS channel. That's true. Anyways, I'll write a comment on the video if I found about that. But that's great. Now I have that working. Here's my game I'm working on. It's not much yet. I can place tracks like this, and then I can place, this is my stations, but I've broken my trains currently because I've added this thing where you can place, in the previous stream I made it so that in the previous stream I didn't have the tracks with the directions, but now I have. I'm eventually gonna add an editor so you can just click and drag and it sort of figures out the direction. Maybe add some kind of track switches and then make some more fun graphics, but we'll see. But right now I need to re-add trains to this. But you know what? Maybe that's for another time, because I think that this little stream is kind of nice and self-contained now with all my OLS nonsense. Nice and short little stream. So I will see you all another time, and have a nice day, evening, morning or night. Bye bye. And thanks everyone in the chat for helping, because now things work. Now I can conquer the world with OLS and stuff. Haha. And the puzzling game day. Hi, thank you. You say you want to try Odin in the future and stuff. Yeah, you can probably make a solver for your puzzle games in it, I'm sure. It's quite easy to make like small, nice, specific problem solver programs, actually.